So what's the general response to this question of comfort?
Probably 75% of the people we talk to do not have a memory of comfort, either a specific memory or a pattern of comfort that they can remember in the first 18 years of their life.
You know, part of the way we predict how easy or difficult a couple's marriage might be is by asking this question. Because when each person in a marriage does have a memory of comfort, we know some things about that home. They had some good love lessons growing up. Most likely that family allowed the expression of feelings. They taught their children that they could seek them out when they were needy or distressed, or the parents were seeking them out. So when each person has a memory of comfort, they've learned to seek connection and expect relief when they're upset. And that's a wonderful skill to take into a marriage.
What if I don't have a memory of comfort?
If you don't have a memory of comfort, odds are you don't therefore know in your own marriage what comfort looks like. And so you will find yourself walking into adulthood with a deficit. You won't know how to identify your feelings. You won't be able to express them well. You'll also struggle with being able to approach someone and tell them you have a need. Most of us don't like telling someone that we're needy or we have a need. There's a stigma to that. And so many of us won't even bring our needs into a relationship. So we start off a marriage wishing for intimacy, wishing for closeness, but we can't even articulate our feelings and bring them into a relationship, let alone ask that person for comfort that they might be able to help me feel better when I'm distressed about life. And life has lots of stresses.
You've used the phrase love lessons several times. What do you mean by that?
Well, love lessons are the sum of our experiences, good and bad, that we have with our parents growing up. It's, you might say, the total learning we have about love. What do we do with our feelings? What do we do with our needs? What are the expectations we have around relationship based on the experiences we've had growing up? Now, all the experiences we have form what we call an imprint of intimacy, which is just deep within our soul, the thing that governs how we view relationship. And it will determine how we respond in our marriages and with our own children.
This is really true. Each of us has an imprint left by our families of origin, by our parents, that leave an imprint or a love style that really affect and shape how we love, which is the title of our book. If you had a great experience, that means you've probably come out not perfect, but you have what is known as a secure connection. And a secure connector is someone who is able to identify their feelings, be able to give and take love in relationship, go to someone when they hurt, find comfort, and as a result they develop an emotional bonding with the people with whom they create this give and take and this reciprocity. They're people who are not afraid to ask and have their needs met. They're people who are easily able to define what they feel and are able to give and receive comfort, as I mentioned before.
What happens to the person who didn't have such a positive experience growing up?
Well, they will identify with one of the 5 harmful love styles that we talk about in our book. And when you don't have memories of comfort, each of these styles that we describe in our book are responses to that lack of comfort. And it's important to say here, this book is not about blaming our parents. It's about finding out what is wrong so that we can repair that and have more successful relationships in our marriages and with our kids.
Can you tell us a little bit about the love styles used in your book?
Well, we have the secure connector, which I just described, and the key word is they're secure inside, so they have the capacity to connect. The other 5 problematic styles are insecure in their inner anxious cores, and so they manifest differently. You have the avoider, you have the pleaser, you have a vacillator, you have a controller, and you have a victim. And we like to explain those to you. Kay, why don't you talk about the avoider?
Well, the avoider is the love style that I came into marriage with and governed my life for about 15 years before I really ever understood the dynamics. And in the home of an avoider growing up, there's just a lack of emotional connection altogether. Feelings and needs are rarely discussed. There's sort of an underlying message of hurry up and grow up and you're fine. And there's a high value on task and on performance. And so a child learns over time when they need comfort, it just isn't available. Or when they have feelings, there's an awkward response or it's just downright not allowed. So an avoider learns to shut down their feelings and shut down their needs and be very independent and very self-sufficient. And not much breaks through that core. They have a kind of an outward face of I'm fine, I'm fine. And if something stresses them to the point where pain does break through, they will isolate. You will not know that they are hurting until perhaps way after the fact or never. So in marriage, they don't bring feelings and needs. They may try and meet needs, but they don't have needs of their own because they learn not to.
What about the pleaser?
Well, that's what I was. I was a pleaser. And oftentimes, people who come from homes that can oftentimes be overly protective, or perhaps even a critical parent or an angry parent, can grow up not really receiving comfort, but stuffing their own feelings of how distressed they feel inside. And their goal is to try to please or calm the situation. And so they grow up as appeasers and pleasers, and they very much are unaware of their own feelings, but they're very fixated on the feelings of others, trying to make them happy.
Tell me about the vacillator.
The love style of a vacillator is created by a parent who is there for the child at times. At moments this parent truly connects. The problem is it's very sporadic and unpredictable. So what happens to this child is they're left wanting and waiting much of the time for that connection to happen again. In a child's heart, that feels like abandonment. And so they often strive to gain the attention of the parent, but can't predict when it will happen. What that creates as an adult is a person who believes that connection is unpredictable, I can't count on it, and I don't know when it's going to happen again. So when they marry, they often idealize new relationships, thinking, oh, this is going to be the person who is a consistent connection for me. And in dating, that often happens. And then real life sets in and marriage happens, and of course, they're left to wait at times for their spouse to be available. And this sometimes causes a level of anger that they don't really understand. And the spouse of a vacillator often feels like they're in a push-pull relationship. The vacillator gives a message, come here, I want you. No, never mind, I don't want you. They want to receive, but sometimes by the time connection's offered, they're too angry to receive it.